Welcome to our deep dive. We're going to be talking about the future of work today.
Yeah.
You've given us some really interesting stuff to dig into.
Yeah.
Some excerpts from the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025, and also this document that explains what ADA intelligence measures.
Right.
I'm really excited to jump in and see what we find.
Yeah, I think you're going to be surprised by how much change is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what skills people are going to need.
Well, the report makes it sound pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
They're predicting that by 2030, like 22% of jobs will be completely different.
Yeah, it's
a huge shift.
Yeah, we're talking about like potentially 170 million new jobs being created.
Wow.
But also 92 million jobs that exist now being displaced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a big time of change for everybody.
And what's driving all this change? Is it just robots taking over?
Well, that's what a lot of people think.
Right.
But it's more complex than that.
Okay.
The report says that broadening digital access is actually the biggest factor. Think about it.
Yeah.
The internet has already changed like everything about how we work. And that's only going to speed up.
So more and more people getting online basically means more opportunities for automation and digitization.
Right. And
that affects everything.
Yeah, pretty much every industry will be impacted.
Okay.
And this digital access thing is also driving other trends.
Okay.
Like AI
Right.
and the green transition, too. So it's all kind of connected.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a web of change.
So it's not just about learning like one specific technical skill.
No.
It's more about being adaptable and willing to learn new things.
Exactly. You have to always be learning. The skills you have today might not be what you need 5 years from now.
Right.
You got to be agile, curious, and ready for new ways of working.
So let's talk about some of those new ways of working.
Sure.
The report talks a lot about growth in tech jobs.
Right. Yeah.
Like AI and machine learning specialists, fintech engineers.
Those are definitely in demand.
Sounds like everyone needs to learn to code.
Well, those are definitely hot jobs, but here's a surprise.
Okay.
The report also predicts big growth for delivery drivers.
Really? I thought automation was going to replace delivery drivers.
Well, it seems kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But e-commerce is growing so fast.
Right.
And then there are other factors, too, like population growth and more people living in cities.
So even with all this talk about robots and AI, there's still going to be plenty of jobs that need human skills.
Exactly. And this leads to another key point.
Yep.
Alongside those tech jobs, the report also predicts growth for jobs in the care economy.
Like nurses and social workers and counselors?
Yeah, all those roles that need empathy and communication skills and interpersonal skills.
So it's not robots versus humans.
No.
It's more like we need both tech skills and human skills.
Exactly. It's both. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because it ties into what ADA intelligence is all about.
You mean those socio-emotional skills? The human skills that AI can't do?
Exactly. The report says that technical skills alone won't be enough. Employers want people who are resilient, flexible, good leaders, and have social influence.
Yeah. It's not going to work to have a team full of brilliant robots who can't talk to each other.
That's a great way to put it.
So these tools like ADA intelligence are becoming really important.
Yeah, they help companies measure and develop these human skills.
So it's not just about knowing what technical skills people need.
Right.
It's also about understanding the human skills that will work with those technical skills.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so valuable. We're not just looking at numbers.
Right.
We're figuring out what those numbers mean for people and companies.
It's like we're getting a sneak peek at the future of work.
Yeah, and figuring out how to succeed in it.
What's interesting to me is that these human skills are good for more than just being a good employee.
That's right.
It's about adaptability and well-being and being happy in a world that's changing all the time.
Yeah, it's about more than just having a job. It's about thriving in every part of your life.
And the data from the report says that developing these socio-emotional skills can make a big difference in both your work life and your personal life.
Yeah.
So the takeaway here is that while technical skills are still important, it's the human skills that will make you stand out in the future.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll talk about more as we go deeper into this.
What?
We'll look at some specific examples of these skills and how they're measured and what you can do to develop them.
This is getting good. I want to
Yeah.
hear more.
Okay.
But before we do that, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about this ADA intelligence thing.
Sure.
Could you give us like a quick explanation of what it is and how it works?
Of course.
Okay.
So ADA Intelligence is basically a platform
Okay.
that helps companies assess and develop the socio-emotional skills of their employees.
Okay.
It uses different methods like psychometric assessments
Yeah.
and behavioral data analysis
Mm-hmm.
to figure out each employee's strengths and weaknesses.
So it's kind of like a really advanced personality test.
You could think of it that way,
Okay.
but it's more than that.
Okay.
It goes beyond just personality traits.
Okay.
It looks at things like motivation,
Mm.
resilience, problem-solving skills, and communication styles.
So it helps companies understand how people work best.
Right, and how they work together,
Okay.
and how they deal with stress and change.
That's pretty
But-
amazing.
Yeah.
So companies can use this info to build better teams,
Yeah.
figure out what training people need,
Mm-hmm.
and even predict how well someone will do in the future.
Exactly, and it's not just about productivity.
Okay.
It's also about creating a better work environment
Okay.
where people feel valued and supported.
So everybody wins.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It's about using technology to understand and develop human potential.
I'm starting to see how all of this could affect my own work.
Yeah, that's what's cool about this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're taking these big ideas
Yeah.
and making them relevant to your everyday life.
I'm really enjoying this.
Great.
So let's take a quick break,
Okay,
and then we'll come back and talk about how all of this relates to the skills and industries you're interested in.
sounds good.
Okay.
So before we were talking about how ADA intelligence can help companies figure out the socio-emotional skills of their employees.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, how does this work in real life?
Well, one area where it's really useful is in hiring.
You mean using it to help companies hire the right people?
Exactly. Traditionally, hiring has been all about resumes and technical skills.
But that doesn't always tell you everything.
Right. Someone might look great on paper,
Right.
but not have the people skills or the flexibility to actually do well in a fast-paced job.
So AD intelligence can help companies see beyond the resume,
Exactly. It helps them assess those qualities that are hard to measure.
that are really important, though.
Right. By using psychometric assessments and analyzing behavior data,
Mm.
companies can get a much better idea of what a candidate is really like.
Yeah, it's like getting a preview of how someone will actually perform.
Right? Not just what they say they can do.
And that's got to be super important now.
Yeah, especially with the job market changing so fast.
Companies need people who can learn and adapt
Exactly. They need people who are resilient.
and who can keep up with the changes.
Right. It's not just about filling a specific role.
It's about building a workforce that can evolve as the market changes.
Exactly. And ADA intelligence can help with that.
Now, what about training and development? I bet this data can also be helpful for figuring out where employees need to improve.
Absolutely. By looking at these socio-emotional profiles of their employees,
Yeah.
companies can figure out exactly what skills they need to work on.
So instead of just offering like general training programs,
Right.
they can create programs that are specific to each employee's needs.
Exactly. And that makes the training more effective.
And it probably shows employees that the company cares about them.
Right. It's a good way to keep people happy and keep them from leaving.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about creating a culture of learning and development
Mm.
where people feel supported and encouraged to reach their full potential.
This all sounds great, but are there any downsides?
That's a good question. Like, any technology ADA intelligence needs to be used ethically.
Right.
I could see how this data could be used to discriminate against people.
Yeah.
It's really important for companies to have rules in place
Mm.
to prevent that kind of bias.
And they need to be transparent with their employees,
Absolutely. People should know how their data is being used.
right? It's all about building trust
Exactly.
and making sure that this technology benefits everyone.
And that brings us back to the big picture.
You mean the idea that the future of work is about finding that balance between technology and human skills?
Exactly. Tools like ADA intelligence can be really powerful,
Yeah.
but they work best when you combine them with human judgment and empathy.
So it's not about replacing humans with algorithms.
No.
It's about using technology to help us understand human potential.
And that's what will create a better future of work for everybody.
I've learned so much from this deep dive.
That's great to hear.
It's given me a whole new way of thinking about the future of work
I'm glad.
and what I need to do to succeed.
I think the main takeaway is that the future's full of opportunities, even though it might feel uncertain if you keep learning and growing.
And developing those human skills.
Like, you can be ready for anything.
And who knows, this shift toward a more human-centric workplace might even lead to better, more meaningful careers for everyone.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Even in a world that's becoming more and more driven by technology.
It's our human qualities that will determine our success.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about these big trends that are changing the future of work and how important these socio-emotional skills are becoming. But how does all this apply to, like, our listener, the person listening to this?
Well, remember, they gave us these sources because they're interested in figuring out how to navigate all these changes.
Right, they want to know how to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And I think the first thing is to just embrace this idea of always learning.
So it's not just about, like, taking a course here and there.
Right. It's about being really curious.
Always wanting to learn new things.
Yeah, because the world is changing so fast.
Right, today might be outdated tomorrow.
Exactly. So you have to stay informed about what's happening in your industry.
Okay,
New technologies, new ways of working.
so how do you do that?
Well, there are lots of ways.
Okay.
You can read industry publications,
Mm-hmm.
go to webinars, listen to podcasts like this one,
Yeah.
even just talk to people in your field.
Networking is really important, isn't it?
It is. It's not just about who you know.
Right.
It's about what you can learn from them.
So talk to people who are doing the kind of work you want to do.
Exactly. Learn from their experience.
Okay.
Figure out what challenges they face
Mm-hmm.
and what skills they think are valuable.
Oh, don't be afraid to try new things.
Right. Even if they're outside your comfort zone.
The more skills you have, the better.
Exactly. The more adaptable you'll be.
Remember we talked about being a T-shaped person? Having that deep expertise in one area,
Right.
but also knowing a little bit about a lot of different things.
And that's where those socio-emotional skills come in.
Yeah.
Being able to communicate well, work with others, think critically, solve problems.
Those are the things that'll make you stand out.
Exactly. And think back to what ADA intelligence measures.
Okay.
Achievement, drive, resilience, self-awareness.
Those are the qualities employers are looking for.
Right. It's like a roadmap for the future of work.
So if you're listening to this and you're feeling overwhelmed by all this change,
Don't worry.
Yeah.
See it as a challenge.
okay,
An opportunity to learn and grow and reinvent yourself.
you don't have to do it alone.
Right. There are resources out there,
Mm-hmm.
organizations that can help you through these transitions.
Okay.
Connect with them, get advice, build a support system.
The future of work might seem scary.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's also exciting.
Yeah, if you focus on learning and adapting,
And developing those human skills.
we'll be ready for anything.
And who knows, maybe this shift toward a more human-centric workplace will lead to better, more meaningful careers for everyone.
That's a nice thought.
It is a reminder that even in a world with so much technology,
Hmm.
it's our human qualities that will determine our success.
Well, that's a great place to end, I think.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of work.
it was my pleasure.
To all of you listening out there, keep diving deep.
Yeah.
Stay curious and embrace the possibilities of the future.
And remember, the future is what we make it.
Until next time.